This podcast is brought to you by LP Digital. LP Digital is a locally owned photography and videography business in Columbia, Missouri. It was started by University of Missouri journalism students Isaiah Lopez and Joseph Patton. Their mission is to bring local stories to life through stunning high-quality visuals that fit any budget. Because at LP Digital, everyone deserves to see themselves smile. Whether it's capturing life's biggest moments or telling your unique story, they're here to make it happen. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook at LP Digital 2026 and send them a message to find the perfect price for you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the On the Pitch podcast with my guest JP Thompson. JP, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Just got done with practice, and now I'm ready to do this podcast with you. You messaged me the other night, and I was super excited to hear your story and get I got a lot of things in my brain that I want to talk about, especially with high school season right around the corner, and you've got a big trip planned up. Where are you heading again? Tell me where you're going.
I'm headed to Abu Dhabi with the Guam International U23 team. So we are playing in the Asian Cup qualifiers in Abu Dhabi. So we have matches against the UAE, Iran, and then Hong Kong.
Wow.
So
And then,
big trip upcoming.
Yeah, are you just the under 23s, or are you for the entire national team? How does that work?
So I'm for the what is considered the Matau, which is the senior team, and then the U23 team.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so Matau are a group of people that were kind of seen as leaders in Guam, and so our team is named after them.
Oh, that's cool. So before we get into, we'll get more into depth with all of that. Tell me about your playing career, like because I know you played a little bit of soccer. Tell us about your past, where you're from, all of that.
Yeah, so from St. Louis, Missouri, grew up in the St. Louis soccer community. Played soccer through the Gallagher system for club growing up, and then also went to CBC High School, played there, and then went on from there to play at Westminster College. Played there 4 years. Junior and senior year was the captain there for one of the captains for the team. And then from there went into the physical therapy world after I graduated. It was kind of a way for me to continue to stay connected to the sport without, having to continue to play. My playing days were over. I had a number of injuries that really limited me through college, but that was kind of my way to stay connected to the sport without playing.
And now, was that always kind of what you wanted to do, or was it really those injuries that kind of pushed you to want to go into that field?
Is a little bit of combination of both. I had a ton of injuries growing up. In college alone, I had herniated L4, L5 2 separate times. Pulled groin, missed some time with that. I'd had my right before freshman year of high school, I broke my wrist and was in a cast all summer. So freshman year tryouts, I tried to convince them to let me try out in my full arm cast. That didn't go over too well. But so I'd had tons of injuries throughout where physical therapy was needed. That being said, that is a field that always interests me outside of just the sports side of it. I have an aunt who's a physical therapist, a couple of family friends that are parents' friends that are physical therapists. So it was always an appealing profession for me as a way to help people on their recovery journey from injuries, whether that's through sports or not. Physical therapy has always been something that's been appealing as a profession for me. And the nice aspect of being able to continue to work with soccer players and continue to stay in this world has been a nice bonus.
Yeah. So obviously, like, do you just work with high school players, or do you kind of work with everybody? What's really like your clientele?
So most of my clientele are athletes. So I kind of have, these windows throughout the day that your weekend warriors, your knee replacements kind of fit into. but outside of that, I have high school, college, professional players all coming to kind of see me. That I'm working with throughout the day and throughout kind of the work day. Generally, the high school and college kids tend to be a little bit more in the afternoon because they have to go to school
Hmm.
still,
Yeah.
and so college we can get a little bit more work around with it depending upon their school schedule, but high schoolers are kind of more into the day, and so I get pretty busy towards 3, 4, 5 o'clock.
Yeah. And with those soccer players, especially like your high school and your college kids, what are some of the injuries that you're starting to kind of see a pattern with? Is it mainly knees? Is it ankles? Is it shin splints? What are really those injuries that you see a lot of the time?
There's a lot of lower extremity injuries. I don't know that there's necessarily trends that I'm seeing recently where there's a lot of Achilles tears or a lot of ACL tears popping up. I don't think there's really been any like trends of like why is this happening right now.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, from the injuries that we see on soccer players, most commonly you have your hamstrings, you have your ankle sprains, you have your ACLs, and then female soccer players are significantly more likely to have. We know they're significantly more likely to have ACL tears, but also significantly more likely for hip labral tears. Super common in the adolescent female soccer player. Um, has to do a lot with how our sport is played. It's
Hmm.
played with our hips turned out to the side quite a bit. And so you get this kind of lack of internal rotation of the hip, which you need for running. And so the hip kind of sets up to be turned out when
Hmm.
we need it to turn in, and that stresses that hip joint and leads to some more labral tears in the adolescent female, especially just with the nature of the female anatomy kind of
Hmm.
tending to be wider hips. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of stress on those hips. And then, like I said as well, you see significantly more ACL tears or knee ligamentous tears of the female athlete. There's a lot of different reasons that are being floated around currently, and FIFA is putting in quite a bit of money currently to research why the female athlete is more likely to tear their ACL.
Hmm.
Um, they are in the middle of a 10-year program. They're like year one into a 10-year program of just dumping lots and lots of money into research. Actually, just finished up the first year following, I think it was 26 women in the top flight of the English league,
Hmm.
and following ACL stuff there. So over the next 5, 10 years, we're going to get a lot more, hopefully, get a lot more clarity on why um, the female athlete is more likely to tear um, the ACL. But from a like a just a over big view, I think there's not just one reason, right?
Yeah.
You have You have anatomical differences, which we used to think had to do with like the width of their hips and how that affects what's called the Q angle, which is where your legs come down.
Hmm.
We kind of moved away from that thought from the anatomy perspective and thinking more on the notch that the ACL runs in.
Hmm.
So within your knee, the ACL has like a groove that it runs in, and in females, that notch is more narrow.
Oh, I didn't
Is
know that.
one of the prevailing thoughts right now. And with a more narrow notch, there's just less space for that.
Hmm.
At ACL, there's the obvious ones of training being different for a female athlete versus a male athlete, not getting as much time in the gym, not as much focus on weightlifting that can help maybe prevent um, some of those ACLs injuries. There's, the kind of um, dietary or societal things that are going on with the
I was
female athlete. Where,
I was gonna ask you if diet has anything to do with injury prevention even with ACLs.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not fueling your body correctly, there's absolutely you're gonna get, you're not gonna be able to perform and you're not gonna be able to effectively protect yourself.
Mhm.
Um, and so you get these societal um, issues that pop up where a female athlete feels like they need to look a certain way, or even not just like female athletes,
Mhm.
females in general have those societal components in it that like, oh well, I can't eat heavy in protein and I can't lift weights
Mhm.
because it's going to make me look bulky,
Yeah.
and that plays a role. There's also the specific changes that happen during the menstrual cycle,
Mhm.
and how diet can feed into that as well. We see that a lot with cross country runners,
Mhm.
that just don't fuel appropriately, don't have enough protein in their diet, don't have enough iron in their diet. And so there's changes in their menstrual cycles. And there's a lot of anecdotal research, or not really research, anecdotal reports of ACLs being um, torn more prevalently during a menstrual cycle for some of these girls.
Is that
So
just because the hormones are different during that time?
100%. Yeah, that's the
Wow.
thought is the hormone levels change. So that's one of the things that FIFA is looking at is tracking hormone levels and tracking menstrual cycles and when these female athletes are getting injured.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of look into that. So it's really exciting that we're putting research money into this finally.
Mhm.
Um, but it also feels like this should have been done 20 years
Oh,
ago.
yeah, it should have been like when men and women are playing sports, that should have already been researched because 'cause they've always had injuries, they've always had ACL injuries, it's not like that's a new thing. Back in the day, even really even like 10 to 15 years ago, if you got an ACL injury, your career was pretty much over. Nowadays, you're seeing there's a lot more people that are coming back from it, and I think a lot of that has to do with there's more research and there's more focus on what you guys are doing as physical therapists and recovery and all of that, that are helping get those athletes back into the field. And obviously, we kind of talked about ACLs with women. What are really is there really a big difference between what injuries happen to the sexes? So like, are men more prevalent of getting hamstrings and women are more ACLs? Like, what is something you're kind of noticing in your practice?
So generally, females are going to be higher likelihood to get injured throughout any of the body parts.
Okay.
It comes down to those same under
Mhm.
fueling, under training, like under
Mhm.
preparation from a weightlifting perspective,
Yeah.
um, under research. The one of the craziest stats I like to bring up is, do you know what population has the highest prevalence of concussions in the college game?
I would say it's probably females would be the highest population, but are you asking me about like a specific sport?
Yeah, sport.
Isn't it basketball?
Soccer. It's female
Oh,
soccer
it is
players are
soccer.
high,
Okay, okay.
female soccer players are higher than male football players,
Are
like American football.
of
Yeah,
getting concussions?
correct.
Is that just because there's a lot of like, there's a lot of like off field stuff like landing on the ball, hitting the ball, things like that.
Yeah,
What why is
it's
that?
um, well, there's probably something to say that the male college football player is underreporting concussions. There's probably
Okay,
something
yeah.
to be said about that. Um, that being said, we're getting a lot better with
Mhm.
detecting concussions,
Mhm.
where like the player doesn't have to report it. Like the
Yeah.
independent eye in the sky is looking down and saying like that person needs to come out.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's probably that plays a role into it, but also, I mean, the female soccer player, like they're ruthless, especially at
Mhm.
the college level. They're
Yeah.
going in hard. They're not backing down from challenges. They're not pulling out of challenges.
Mhm.
I think that has something to do with it. Like if
Yeah.
you're making it to the collegiate level to play soccer, like
You're a dog, dude. You're
yeah,
intense.
you're working hard, like you're
Yeah.
intense, right? So I think there's something to be said of like they don't back down from challenges. They're going to go in
Hmm.
and do that, but also are we, you know, are we training these female soccer players how to correctly head the ball?
Yeah.
When do we train them? There is U11 is currently unable to. I think that's when heading the ball is banned
Yeah.
until.
I think it's U12 is when it's officially, because I coach a U10 team here, and
Yeah,
we cannot head the ball. We can't even practice it.
yeah. And there's research that backs like you shouldn't.
Hmm.
You do not have the motor planning skills to know how to properly move your head through space
Hmm.
until you're 13 years old. That's the research says at 13 you start to develop how to appropriately engage the muscles in your neck
Hmm.
to move your head in a way that is going to limit the amount of movement of the brain inside the skull.
Yeah.
And so,
I would even say some high schoolers don't even know how to do that
well,
properly.
I would say a lot of high schoolers don't
Yeah.
because I mean, now you've banned it at this certain age, right?
Hmm.
I don't know many coaches that teach it once you get to U13, right? Or
Yeah.
U12, whatever that age is. I don't know many coaches that coach that. They're at that age, they're already so focused on we have to play this type of system, this type of thing that all of their
Hmm.
practices are geared towards that
Yeah.
and not geared towards the mechanics of this is how you head the ball appropriately so that you're not
Hmm.
going to get hit. And
Yeah.
then you translate that across like how many good coaches do we actually have in the US coaching system, which is
Hmm.
less.
Yeah.
And then how many
That's a whole other podcast.
yeah, but then how many of those are ending up in the women's game, right?
Yeah.
So
A
like
lot of them. Yeah.
even less.
Hmm.
So you get a lot of just it's undercoached on how to
Yeah.
head the ball. And that's I think what happens in the female game is that these girls and these women aren't taught how to do it.
Yeah. So, like, moving on, like, let's keep with this concussion talk because I kind of like where it's going. So, obviously, it's concussions are one of those things that can just randomly happen at any time. You know, a person plays a pass and it hits you in the head, and all of a sudden, you've got a concussion. It could happen from falling down. You could be just falling down in your living room. You can get a concussion. They're
Yeah.
very prevalent. So there's a couple of people that have they've made a lot of money creating these devices that are you know, concussion safe, headbands and even full headgear that they can wear. But like, is there truly, you were talking about a little bit off air, but is there truly something to those? Do they actually help stop concussions?
No, the research actually shows they're more prevalent. Concussions are more prevalent in people that wear the headbands or like the collars, the Q collars.
Hmm.
Um, the thought behind that is it gives you this feeling of invincibility that
Hmm.
you can go put your head in a situation, in a position that you normally wouldn't
Yeah.
without that protection. I use a water bottle to explain a concussion. I
Okay.
can put as much bubble wrap as I want around this water bottle.
Uh-huh.
The water inside is
It,
still moving.
it's still going to move. That's your
It
brain.
does
Yeah.
not matter. It does not matter. Your brain is sitting in this fluid inside of your skull,
Hmm.
and if I shake that, that's going to the brain it can still hit the sides no matter how much um, padding you put around that. That's why if you go and look at any of the helmets for American football,
Hmm.
they will specifically on there say they do not prevent concussions. They are there to prevent skull fractures. That is
Wow,
their goal.
really?
Yeah,
And you're
it's on
seeing
there.
those all over the place. Every NFL team's using them. Even high schools are using them now.
Well, just like yeah. So the helmets are not there to prevent a concussion. They're there to prevent a skull fracture. So if you want to tell me that you want your kid to wear it because you're worried about a skull fracture, which has happened, it happens. I mean, it happens at
Hmm.
the highest level. I mean, most famously, you have Peter Cech who hit the goalpost. You
Hmm.
have Raul Jimenez, Mexican national player, when he headed with David Luiz.
Yep.
Like those happen.
He actually
And,
scratched. I think he actually fractured his skull though. Jimenez did.
right. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. If you want to
Yeah.
say you want to wear those for skull fractures,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
But from a concussion standpoint, those are not those are not going to help prevent those concussions.
Wow. There's a lot of people that are making a lot of money with kind of,
Yep.
and I don't think a lot of people are understanding that it's not actually for concussions, but it's almost giving them that placebo effect that it's making them feel like it's better for them because they've got this extra padding on their helmets. Like I'm
Gives you a
seeing.
sense of invincibility.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, like I had a concussion in high school. It was actually my district first round my senior year. So I didn't even get to play the district championship as a senior, and we wound up losing. But it wasn't anybody else's fault. I didn't think we were going to win anyway. But it happens, you know. But I had a concussion, and I never wore one of those headband things afterwards, anything like that. But you were kind of talking about off air a little bit about the recovery of concussions. That there's some new science about if you get a concussion, when it does happen, if it does happen, what are some things that kids can be doing? Because everyone kind of tells you, hey, get in a dark room, don't play video games, stay off your phone. But like you said, there's something else they're starting to do some
Yeah.
studies about the recovery of concussions. What was that?
So actually, I had a concussion 3 months ago.
Oh,
I had my
really?
third, yeah, 3 months ago, I had my third concussion. All concussions have come since I've stopped playing competitively.
Oh, of course, that's always how it happens, right? It's always when you're not
Recreational.
playing. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's like I was playing Wednesday night, with my Tuesdays and Wednesday night indoor team.
Hmm.
Uh, just caught a ball off the side of the head and you know
Oh man.
concussion.
Did you knock out? Did you go out? Did you lose memory? Like what happened with you?
No, I finished the game. I didn't think too much about it, and then I got off, and I'm like, I finished. There wasn't much time left, and the competitor in me, it
Hmm.
was that first week where it was really hot here in
Hmm.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
It was like that first day. It was really hot, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm just dehydrated.
Yeah.
And then I got off the field, and I like finished the game, and I chugged a bunch of water, and I like that's not dehydration. It's not going away.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and so, thankfully, it didn't take any more hits to the head or anything like that. But there's a lot of research actually backing creatine, taking creatine to help decrease the symptoms of a concussion. So the research is kind of showing a really heavy dose of creatine in the first week after a concussion. Normal dosage is 5 milligrams.
Hmm.
So they recommend 20 milligrams for the first week. The next week you drop down to 10 milligrams and then 5 milligrams. Creatine has a lot of other super beneficial things that is coming out about it,
Hmm.
just like longevity health stuff.
Yeah.
And so there's other reasons to be talking about creatine in terms of performance and muscle growth and that sort of stuff. But from a concussion standpoint, I started taking creatine right away. Within like 2 days of my concussion, took me a day to get it to my house. So from ordering it from Amazon, started taking it. I was fully back playing within 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
Where I was, there's another therapist that's at the clinic that I currently work at that does vestibular and concussion. That's all she sees. I had her check me out. I got some other things that you can do. We were talking about is there's depending upon what your symptoms are. It's not one size fits all. So that's the other thing with concussion. Like if you get a concussion, you need to see a concussion therapist because they're going to be able to run you through the tests, see if there's issues with eye tracking, and that can be where you're just bouncing your eyes back and forth, and how if that causes symptoms, or if it's with your head tracking, right? Tracking a specific motion with your head moving, and that can be sideways, that can be up and down, that can be different positions for different people, and even different, like my concussion this time was different than my concussion last time. Symptoms are different. We are no longer in the world of put yourself in a dark room and shut off everything. we do still subscribe to that theory in the first 24 to 48 hours because we need those symptoms are really high. We need to get those down. But limiting screen time throughout, blue light filtered glasses. That's another thing that I did. Being in the PT world, I am out treating patients, but I still have to write my notes and still have to look at a computer screen.
Hmm.
So I wore my blue light filter glasses that just decreases the strain on my eyes, decreases the strain on my brain from working. We do want to limit these kids' workload. So making sure one of the big things is getting to a medical professional, a doctor, and then onto a concussion specialist for PT. That way we can get the appropriate doctor's notes for school for
Hmm.
these kids so that they aren't getting there's a point where we want to work up to in terms of symptoms, but if you go over that, you start to exacerbate the symptoms.
Gotcha.
And so these the therapist will be able to help say, all right, we're going to work up here, and then you have to relieve yourself from school. You have to move yourself out of that busy environment with lots of fluorescent lights and lots of talking and noise and lots of other things going on. You have to remove yourself from those situations. So that's where seeing a medical professional and getting the proper um, documentation for school can be super helpful for these kids.
Gotcha. That's really cool. I didn't know that creatine could do that. That could help recovery. That's really cool. I knew that it had a lot of like positive effects with like weightlifting and things like that. Everyone kind of
Yeah.
knows that. Remember when I'm sure back when you were in high school, everyone's like, "Oh, creatine," and then before they lift and things like that.
Yeah.
That's still a big craze. Everyone's still doing
Oh,
that nowadays.
it's
Oh.
and they should the health benefits around creatine just in
Hmm.
general. The more and more research, there's a gentleman at Lindenwood University right now who is doing a study on creatine in adolescents and the benefits that it has, just like globally.
Hmm.
So I'm really excited to see how that goes. It's if there's anyone that's in the St. Louis area that's looking to is thinking about it. There's a guy researching it right now, and they're taking applicants as well. I think it's 18 and under for males only,
Hmm.
and so you can find me on socials, and I can get you linked up with him, and you can get some creatine paid for because
we'll
it's
we'll
not necessarily
definitely
the cheapest thing.
Yeah, we'll definitely throw your socials and everything there at the end. We'll let you plug all your stuff. So,
Yeah,
obviously, so like we'll kind of segue into your Guam national team stuff. But just one last thing I want to talk about too is, like hydration. When it
yeah.
comes to the prevention of injuries, something that I notice, there's a big, the last it seems like 5 to 10 years the water bottle craze has really gone crazy. Everyone's got a hydro flask. Everyone's got these, Yeti things or whatever. Like
The
hydration's
new
become
every
like this.
6 months.
Yeah, there's a brand new bottle. I mean, I got one of the Wallow. I don't want to plug them too much because they don't sponsor the podcast or anything. But
This
everyone's
goes everywhere in me.
yeah,
Got to rep St.
everyone's
Louis City.
everyone's drinking water so much now. And like you as a physical therapist, how much does hydration truly play into preventing injuries for high school, college, even younger kids?
A lot, and not just from a preventing injury perspective, from a performance standpoint. When you're
Mhm.
on the field, if you're dehydrated, there was a study that looked at it was out of the EPL. They did a study, and players that were dehydrated had a 7 times more likelihood to misplace a pass than a player
Whoa.
that was properly hydrated.
Wow.
Um, so hydration, that's a real big point for me, and we can segue that into the
Mhm.
Guam stuff because
Yeah.
I'm headed to Abu Dhabi in Saudi Arabia, and uh, the temperatures at kickoff at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night are going to be around like 98 degrees with
Oh,
feels like temperature of like 124.
jeez. So
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 hydrate.
Yeah, like you're gonna be
Hydration is going to be huge
yeah,
for us.
you're gonna be drinking water nonstop.
Correct. So I mean, these hydration packets, like stuff like that, those are going to be our best friends and crucial. Getting your electrolytes in. Um, I think there's been a big push back on things like Gatorade and Powerade,
Mhm.
and it has to do with this like vilification of sugar.
Yeah.
Um, and I think yes, Gatorade and Powerade. If you're sitting in school and you're sitting there all day, not the drink of choice.
Yeah.
Should not be the drink of
It's
choice.
just like a soda if you're drinking it throughout the day in school.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not as bad, but
it's a
yeah,
little better than soda, but
but
it's not the
it's a
best.
yeah. That being said, there is a massive part that sugar plays in our ability to be a quick energy source for the
Mhm.
body when it comes to sport.
Yeah.
Um, I can go downstairs right now. I have it all packed up. I have 3 5-pound bags of Nerd gummy clusters that I'm taking with me over to Saudi
Those
Arabia.
things are like crack, man. I love
They
those
are,
things.
but they are like weirdly the exact appropriate amount of carbs and sugar that an athlete needs for refueling their sugar loss.
Dude,
So
it's so
we
funny
put
you say that. I just saw like a TikTok the other day about this girl who runs like marathons, and
yep,
that's what she does. Like she eats those
yes,
while she runs.
correct, 100%. It is the perfect. They weirdly have walked themselves into being in the sports world by creating a candy. Like
I mean, it's delicious
it,
too. I mean, it's
right.
amazing.
So wait, we put it out at halftime. Like they literally the bags go out at halftime for the players to consume so that they can refuel their energy. Um, so that tangent away from hydration a little bit, but it ties in with
Yeah.
the sugar. Um, we need electrolytes to refuel. We need water for hydration. What we are doing with the Guam team, we were just in the Philippines last month as kind of a camp before we went on this trip. So we started implementing really rigid hydration protocols for our players. The focus was um, we go they wake up in the morning, first thing they do, they come to the medical room and they weigh in, they get their weight for the morning. They also have to report urine color. So we have a printout and it needs to fit within their urine color when they wake up in the morning, needs to fit within a certain level. If it does not, they need to drink water until it gets to that level. um, from there they are weighed then again after we train. And then we know exactly how much fluid they have lost in that period,
Mhm.
um, to know that how much fluid they need to take back in. So every kilo lost is 1.5 liters of water to put back in. When we are traveling, we are using plastic water bottles, so it's really easy to track how much water they need to put back in. Our water bottles are half a liter. The plastic water bottles that you kind of get everywhere, those
Mhm.
are those are half a liter. So having athletes focus on them, like checking their weight in the morning, checking their weight immediately after training to know how much weight they've lost,
Mhm.
especially in these summer months, especially as we're getting back into um, high school season. Thankfully, the weather's a little bit cooler here right now, and we're trending towards cooler, which is a really weird kind of window that this part of season. I'm used to, the glue of my cleats falling off, being on the turf.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, with this time of year, but no, we're like track it right before, track it after, know how much you lose, and it's a super easy conversion. 1 kilo, which is 2.2 pounds, is 1.5 liters. So if you lose 2 pounds of weight in training, you have to drink 1.5 liters of water. If you
Mhm.
lose three, it's you just keep measuring that up.
Yeah.
So they track it into a Google form that they have to fill out, and then that sends it to me, and I put it in a doc, and then I send it right back to them saying, all right, this is how much water each of you need to finish by the time we get done with our next meal.
Wow. So you've got it like literally down to exactly the pounds they've lost to exactly how much they need to be drinking after that. So, how much, I mean, how much are you taking into account like of them burning fat? I mean, I know they're athletes, but it's
Yeah.
not all water weight they're burning.
No, it's not, but it's mostly water. You're
Mhm.
especially in these conditions like where we're going in Abu Dhabi, it's a lot. Most of what they're losing is going to be water.
Yeah.
Most of what these high school athletes, when they're out running, is going to be water. There is some weight that is lost. Obviously, you're burning calories, that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but we know, like the research says, for every kilo lost in training, it's a liter and a half of water,
Yeah.
and so that you need to replenish. So that's kind of what we use.
Nice. So there's also something that, is there ever, can you ever drink too much water? Like, can you overhydrate? Especially with sometimes like you can almost drink too much. I understand like if I drink too much, my belly's full and I'm all sluggish, but is there ever like maybe even like something to that where you could be almost too hydrated?
Yes, that's a hard place to get. Your body is really good at filtering out water.
Hmm.
Kidneys do a really good job of making you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, I don't. This is going to date me a little bit, but there was the radio competition up in, like, I think it was like New Jersey or something. Like, it was a hold your wee for a wee. Um, it's like back when the Wii,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Nintendo Wii, and you couldn't get them anywhere, and they made them keep a hand on something, and they had to keep drinking water, and the person actually died trying to do it from
Jeez.
water intoxication. You
Yeah.
can do that. That being said, that person was intentionally not using the restroom,
Yeah.
and so your body is going to tell you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You're going to filter out the water.
Hmm.
Performance wise, you may feel a little sluggish,
Yeah.
but your body's going to tell you, hey, you're feeling a little sluggish, and so you
Go.
drink less water.
Yeah. Go
Like,
go go take a pee, dude. Like, that's
right?
what your
Yeah,
body's gonna tell you.
yeah. It's like, hey, man, this feels sloshy. Like, don't put that much into it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, making sure that I'm not too worried about overhydration from any of
Mhm.
these athletes.
Are you
The
kinda
only thing I would be worried
yeah.
about is if they drank so much water that they have to pee that they can't participate. They're in the
Yeah.
bathroom when
Yeah.
we're trying to practice or play.
Yeah.
Like, that would be my issue.
Yeah. So, are you kinda picky about the water that they drink? I know there's, like, a big thing now too with, like, all these different waters, like, Gatorade's got a water now, it's all these electrolyte waters and alkaline water, like, I thought water was alkaline, like, I didn't think we needed all these special things. Are you guys really picky with the water? Are you, like, an anti-fluoride guy? Like, what do
No,
you
no, just whatever, just water, just drink. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, it's gotta be clean.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
when we were in the Philippines, we have to have bottled waters and stuff like that because the
Mhm.
local water, it would not, agree with our players' stomachs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's a lot of marketing, I think, is a lot
Yeah.
of what it is. Um, and I don't put too much stock in
Okay.
this is pH whatever.
Yeah. So I'm excited about you, man. I'm excited for you getting to go on this trip, but I really want to know how the heck did you even get the Guam National Team physio job? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah. So, it kind of dates back to COVID.
Okay.
COVID happens, shuts down a lot of the world, including the rehab, the U.S. Like, the people aren't going out and getting injured,
Hmm.
um, and so the PT world struggled, um, just like a lot of different industries struggled, um, and so I'm sitting at home, not doing much, and I have this urge to continue to help people. That's just in my nature.
Hmm.
Sitting at home was something I did not enjoy. I didn't like, not
Yeah.
working, which is a weird thing. And my
Yeah.
wife was like, "What are you talking about? Like,
This is
you want
amazing.
to?" Right? Yeah. It's like, "This is great. We're here together. We're spending a bunch of time." I'm like, I need to help people. I'm an extrovert. I need to be out doing something.
Your
So
wife's like, I like spending all this time with you, and you're like, I need to get out of this house.
right. It's like I need to see other people.
I love you, but I don't want to be around you anymore.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So I created my social media account, STL
Mhm.
Soccer Doc, and just started posting videos. So my early posts are all COVID posts of me in my house figuring out ways to show exercises, to show things,
Mhm.
um, to people that are at home, that are players that are at home, that are training, that are hurt and aren't able to get out to a doctor to get into physical therapy.
Yeah.
This was before Missouri had changed their laws for direct access, meaning that you can come to a physical therapist without seeing a doctor,
Mhm.
uh, without seeing an MD, um, or a nurse practitioner or anything like that. Now you can come direct access to a PT. You don't, if you roll your ankle in practice, you can come see me right away. You don't need to necessarily go see a doctor or anything like that. And so um, I was trying to find a way to get out and help people. Started posting once COVID, like once I started to get back to work and everything. I ramped up my posts and started to create, become part of a couple of different communities and make friends with people. Um, One of the people I made friends with, her name is Kelsey. She's out of Colorado, and she is the women's team physio for the Guam women's team. And we just become friends from being online, being in this kind of leadership group that we were a part of, and kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. And it was like little over 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Um, she calls me up. It's like, "Hey, what are you doing on this week?" And I said, "Nothing. I'm working."
Yeah.
She's like, "The men's team is having a camp out in Chula Vista, and they need a PT. The head coach has asked me to if I knew anybody, and I recommended you." And I said, "Well, let me call my boss, call my wife,
Mhm.
the other boss, and see what I can do." And so I called my boss. I was like, "Hey, can I? I know it's like 3 weeks away, but can I get a week off to go to do this thing?" And
Mhm.
I don't, I was like, "I think I'm just going to go and do this thing out at in Chula Vista in San Diego area, and that's going to, whatever happens from there."
Yeah.
Um, so get approval from the work boss, approval from the boss at home, and I go out and we have a camp, and it goes really well. And while we're at the camp, the head coach says, "Hey, we got World Cup qualifiers coming up. Will you come with us?" We want to keep this group together from a staffing perspective.
Mhm.
Will you come? And I said, yes, yes. I'm not even asking anyone else. I'll
Yeah.
figure out. I'll figure out the home
I'll
stuff.
figure
Yes,
it out later. Yeah.
yes, I'll be there. I was like, "Where are we going?" He's like, "We'll find out in a couple days." So while we were at camp, our last day, the draw happened, and we drew Singapore. So a couple months later, we flew out to the Philippines, had a camp in the Philippines, and then flew over to Singapore, played in the Singapore National Team Stadium. If you watched any of like the summer games of the EPL teams that were playing in Singapore,
Mhm.
that was the stadium we played in. And then we flew to Guam and played back in Guam for for World Cup qualifiers.
Wow.
We unfortunately didn't win, but we had a pretty good showing for us.
Yeah.
Lost 2-1 and 1-0, and I would say the 1-0 was marred by some poor refereeing, but
Yeah.
um, that is what it is.
Yeah.
And so since then, they've just keep inviting me back.
Mhm.
So last year we had the Eastern Asian Football Federation tournament. So we were in Hong Kong. We were supposed to play against Macau and then also against North Korea. North Korea backed out last minute, so we just played against Macau. We won that game 2-1, which meant we moved on to the finals and played Hong Kong. And we lost to Hong Kong to go to the Eastern Asian Football Federation full tournament. So that was qualifiers. So the full
Mhm.
tournament, which would have been playing against South Korea, Japan, and China. So some big
Wow.
boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, last year and last year when we were there, they're like, we want to keep you on. We want to keep you on for next year. This year was a little bit different. There was some talks that we could be invited into the Outrigger Cup, which just happened with the Marshall Islands.
Mhm.
It that didn't materialize for a number of different reasons, but ended up our focus has been on the U23s this year. So we had U23 camp, like I said, just a couple weeks ago in the Philippines, and then we're headed to Abu Dhabi to take on the UAE, Iran, and Hong Kong.
Wow.
I leave on.
Iran's a big boy, man. That's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah. That's the one that I'm worried about.
Yeah. So are you actually on the field, like, next to them? Are you with, like, the bench during the whole game, or are you off in the training room? Where do they have you
No,
at?
I'm the one that runs on the field.
Oh,
In
so
the
how so what is that like? You get to be in this big giant stadium. I'm sure there's thousands of people there, especially when you're
Yep.
like these other countries. Like, do you even get a little bit of stage fright when you're running out there and helping guys out, or?
No, I mean, once we get actually my nerves, I feel them on the the day before the game when we go do our walkthrough practice at the
Mhm.
stadiums, like
Mhm.
walking around and there being nobody in the stadium.
Yeah.
That's when I get my nerves.
Okay.
But when it comes to game day, um, I it I don't recognize how many people are on around.
Yeah.
Hong Kong last year, we played in front of 10,000 people,
Mhm.
and I didn't see a one of them until
Yeah.
after the game. I just kind of, I can zone in and not focus on that, just like the players do.
Mhm.
You have to focus in on what's going on between the lines and not worry about what's going on outside.
Yeah.
And I can kind of do that, and that's where I think part of my player background helps. Of
Mhm.
like I know how to focus in on that and not let the rest of it
I
affect
mean,
me.
yeah, that's so cool. I mean, it's so great that you have this awesome experience, man. You get to go to all these different countries. How many different countries have you gotten to go to since being a part of this?
So we were Philippines, Singapore, Guam, Hong Kong so far. Then we just went
Mhm.
back to the Philippines, and
Yeah.
then the UAE will be my fifth that I've gotten to go to from this.
That's so cool, man.
Um,
Getting all those
yeah,
stamps on that
and
passport.
yeah. So it's gonna continue. The hope is that continue to keep up this relationship, and I've had conversations with them, and so the next 2 years are kind of mapped out
Mhm.
with some really fun stuff coming up for Guam, especially a little bit more close to home
Yeah.
with some stuff. So it's I'm excited to be able to not have to travel as far because the travel
Mhm.
can get tough.
Mhm.
Um,
Do they comp you for that? Do they pay for your travel, or is
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, good,
It's
good,
flights are all paid for,
good.
room and board when I'm there. It's all covered by the organization.
Yeah.
And then I obviously I'm paid when I'm there to work
Yeah, yeah.
as well. So yeah, there's some fun stuff hopefully coming. You'll see the Guam team hopefully a little bit closer to home here shortly, and
Sweet.
it'll be nice for a lot of the players because a lot of our players are stateside.
Mhm.
With just being in college or their ties being to Guam, but they're playing at in the USL systems.
Mhm, mhm.
Historically, we've had a player in the MLS. So
Is that
that
AJ De La Garza? Did you get a chance to
yep.
meet him?
I have not met AJ. He
Okay,
was right before my time
gotcha.
with the team, but yeah,
Mhm,
we've had MLS, so that's something for some of these boys to look at and
mhm.
see. That's a possibility for some of these guys from Guam. Guam's a small island.
Yeah,
It's it's in the middle of nowhere. If you don't truly know where it's at, you really don't have any idea where it's at.
yeah.
Um, but these guys, there's we got a couple of our guys that are coming on our trip. One is playing in Germany right now. One is playing in Japan. And so we just had one guy retire playing in Laos. We've had a couple play in the Philippines. So,
They're really kinda scattered all over the place.
yeah, that's kind of, Asia can kind of do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movement through Asia like that, with the professional world.
Mhm.
And so I think that, that's just kind of a product of, especially the island areas of Asia,
Yeah,
Philippines, um, and and that you can kind of move around
yeah.
quite often. And
So, obviously, you're going to all these different countries. Do you have a crazy story of something that happened maybe on, like a hotel or just anything that's, like, with going to these different because there's so many different
yeah,
cultures, and some of those fans are crazy. Is there any funny or crazy story that's happened to you?
so the craziest story I have is when we played in Singapore, and to then get to Guam, you have to fly through Manila in the Philippines. So we flew the 4 hours there and then 4 hours further. When we get to the airport, um, they make you they don't tell you this, but you have to go get your luggage checked for. They want to check it for drugs. The
Mhm,
Philippines airport is the highest drug trafficked airport in the world, so they want to
mhm.
check it for drugs, which fine. Um, the way you have to find your suitcase though is you go into this room and there's glass and all of the luggage in the entire airport is outside of there. It's not like on a carousel or anything like that.
It's
It's
like,
just
"Where's
all out,
Waldo?"
and you have to find it. You have to, through the glass, get somebody's attention and say, that one. Nope. That down. That over. That one. That's mine.
Yeah,
They bring it inside. You open it up. They swab it. It gets cleared. You close it back up and you give it back to them.
yeah.
It's just like not
That
like
seems so tedious. That seems so stupid.
yeah, just it's it's a TSA approved luggage bag. You can open it yourself. Just open it and swab it for me. Like,
Yeah.
why do I have to do this? But yeah, that story is. I have a video of it too. That's it. You think you know what your bag looks like until
Mhm.
you're looking at 300 bags, and you're like, I don't remember what my bag looks like. Which one is mine? Which gray/black bag is mine?
Yeah. You almost have to, like, tag it with something like a sticker or, like, a funny like, something random that's gonna catch your eye.
Yeah, the problem is there's 3 bags packed on top of it. They're
Oh,
stacked.
yes. Yeah.
Like, my bag was under 2 other bags.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
so even if it was stacked, like, I couldn't have
Yeah.
seen if it was, like, stamped or anything like that.
Oh, man, that's funny. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I've never been out of the country, but I know if I go to the Philippines, I'm gonna have to make
Yeah,
sure that I tag my bag on all sides just in case it's underneath something or
yeah.
whatever. So
And that's just flying through the Philippines. When I flew into the
yeah.
Philippines, it was fine. There's no
Oh,
issues. It
okay.
came out on the carousel. It's
Yeah.
just flying through the Philippines.
Oh, okay. I wonder why it's like
Um,
that. Oh, it's just because like you said, it's
yeah,
trafficked so much for drugs. So.
yeah,
Oh man. Well, that was
yeah.
that's hilarious, man. I didn't know that. Well, JP, man, thank you so much for doing this. This was awesome. Thanks for reaching out and want to do
Yeah.
the podcast. We talked about your social media, your Instagram. Go ahead and plug anything you want to put out there. Anything at all.
Yeah, so my Instagram, TikTok, they're the same. It's at STL Soccer Doc. If you have any questions about injuries or if you just want a resource, a lot of my exercises that I put up there are used both for rehab, but are also performance in nature as well. I think that those two worlds are virtually the same.
Hmm.
Um, it's just two sides of the same coin. And we're just talk about dosage being the appropriate aspect for rehab versus performance. Go ahead, love follow, love any questions, anything that pops up. And then for anybody that is in need of physical therapy, that's the way to get in contact with me and get you in and get you seen.
Perfect, man. Well, enjoy Dubai, man. Is that yeah? That's where you said you're at, Dubai, right?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi. So
Yeah,
enjoy it,
yeah,
man.
2 hours south.
Yeah,
Same country, 2 hours south.
stay hydrated because I know you coming from Central Missouri, even though it's hot
Yeah.
here, it's definitely not as hot as it is there, man. So make sure
Nope.
you're staying hydrated.
Will do.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
it.
You have a good rest of your day. I'll see you, man.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to the On the Pitch podcast. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.